If you turn on your television nowadays, you're hearing a lot about China.
If China threatens our sovereignty,
the country is frequently mentioned in major speeches by President Biden. Just this week, a new submarine agreement with the United Kingdom and Australia was announced, in part to compete with China.
On this vote,
not to mention, China is one of the few issues unifying Congress, like this recent vote condemning China for launching a surveillance balloon over the U.S. Because of all the recent stories, we thought it was worth a visit to the Chinese American Museum in Washington, where we caught up with David Uwe, the executive director.
People often ask, what does a Chinese American look like? I'm one of them.
Uwe says Chinese Americans are diverse and can look like him.
I'm half Chinese and I'm half Italian.
What's important, he says, is that all Americans know that just because politics with Beijing is tense doesn't give anyone an excuse to be rude to their neighbors.
You may have issues with a country, but those people in the U.S. are as American as you.
Unfortunately, he says hate crimes against Asian Americans are on the rise. A new report by the FBI shows that there were over 700 anti-Asian incidents nationwide in 2021. His museum has felt it firsthand.
We've had a rock thrown through our window. We've had some hate speech left on an exhibit.
Part of Uwe's goal is to educate all Americans more about Chinese American history in the United States. For instance, the Transcontinental Railroad was built in large part by Chinese laborers.
10 miles of track was laid in one day.
One fear Uwe has is a return to the past. From the 1880s to the 1960s, the United States Congress greatly restricted and in many years banned Chinese citizens from migrating here. The Chinese Exclusion Act remains one of the most restrictive immigration laws ever passed by Congress.
They were not always the most welcomed of immigrants.
All of this, Uwe says, is worth keeping in mind as the political rivalry between the United States and China intensifies. Any political expert will tell you it's a rivalry that won't be going away anytime soon. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.